Hi, coming to you today from my favorite tree, talking about soul gifts and the Akashic Records. So our soul gifts are the way are there to help us express our purpose. And the thing is, they're often blocked off because when we make choices that are not authentic, that don't express our truth and our essence, it's like we overlay those gifts, and we overlay the truth of expressing ourselves. It's like we block off the channel of our soul gifts and that flow of energy from our soul. And I know for me that before I learned to read the Akashic Records and work with the Akashic Records, which is one way of understanding and connecting with our soul gifts and clearing the blocks to our expressing our soul gifts. I'm sure there's lots of other ways. There's always different ways of understanding and doing things, but I work with the Akashic Records, so that's the way that I understand and work with that. So for me, before I worked with the Akashic Records, I knew that I was a healer. I knew that I had gifts and I was here to use my gifts. Really windy here today on the hill. So yet I wasn't expressing them. And our soul gifts are so much more than what people usually talk about as our gifts, which are usually our intuitive gifts. So in the Akashic Records, our soul gifts are so much more than that. They're the way that our soul most naturally expresses the energy of our soul. In a way, the wisdom of our soul. So yeah, there's many ways that we express that, and intuition is one of the different intuitive senses are one of those ways. So before I learned the Akashic Records, I knew that I had gifts, that I had a purpose, as most of us do, yet I knew I had healing abilities, intuitive abilities, but I always felt not clear about how to express that. I felt quite blocked. I had a lot of disempowerment in my life and disempowerment patterns to clear, and largely due to being a sensitive person and an empath, and ways that I'd shut down expressing myself to, which were really survival patterns. And I think most of us have covered over and blocked off our true expression for lots of reasons. So that seems, you might ask, why would we do that? Well, if you think about it, even in this, although I work in a context of past lives as well, even in this life, if you think back to when you're a child, often when we express ourselves truthfully and authentically, the world doesn't always, the people around us don't always respond to that positively. So that's why we can begin to block that off, that through learning and through experiences, that we make choices not to express ourselves. For example, the small child who one of their gifts is the earphones fall out, the wind's probably not helping that. So one of their gifts may be divine truth, really to those people who speak the truth, who are here to speak the truth, and their perception of the truth and principles of the truth and the way that they experience truth, the way that they understand truth and perceive truth. They're here to speak that and express that and communicate that. And well, people don't always like to hear that, so I've seen that often with people whose gift is divine truth, that they've really stopped doing that to some degree because of the negative responses of people around them. And in past lives they may have even been killed or whatever for speaking their truth. in other times when, you know, perhaps even now in some countries, people with that gift are killed or punished or whatever for speaking their truth. So yeah, that's one of the soul gifts, and some of the others are divine wisdom, divine love, divine order, that understanding of how everything in the universe is ordered and how systems work, how that flow of order expresses itself in everything that we do naturally. People who are divine order have that soul gift, understand that. So it's much different. The Akashic Records understanding of soul gifts is much different than how we usually think of our gifts, which are just the intuitive gifts. And I found when I started to learn the Akashic Records and read the Akashic Records, there was a real shift as that flow of energy started to flow through me from my soul. I felt more energized. I felt definitely more empowered, because that's our divine energy, our capacity to create and to be who we are. And when that's blocked off, we do feel disempowered. We do feel just not aligned with being who we are. So what else can I share about that? Yeah, I find it good to share my story and experience, because that is is example of that. And I've seen that with clients as well, that as I do work with them and awaken their gifts, the expression of those gifts, and just even to understand those gifts and to connect with those gifts, just starts to make a difference in the expressing their purpose and feeling more aligned with their purpose. And I think, you know, so many people don't feel that connection, really clear connection with their purpose and what they're here to do. And that's one of the reasons why, because the way that we express our purpose is through our soul gifts, and they're blocked off to some degree. You know, of course they're not fully blocked off. People are expressing themselves all the time. We are expressing themselves. We're expressing aspects of that, but we're not fully expressing that. I mean, I'm not fully expressing that either. It's a journey, because, you know, that same as emotional patterns or mental patterns, these are spiritual patterns that we've created through making choices again and again that don't express the truth of who we are, don't express our soul nature, that have created patterns that then take practice to undo and create new patterns where we're expressing our true nature and our gifts. So for me, my soul gift is, one of my main soul gifts is divine creation, is expressing the spirit through the physical experience. So a lot of my work is about giving people an experience. So I'm not just here to speak in words, I'm here to speak through the energy of what I'm saying, and to give people an experience of that, as I find ways to do that and express that. And that's through my work with the Akashic Records, I'm able to do that more, and that started to open up for me and make sense of me, that when I do my work in ways where I'm working with my strengths of with my soul gifts, with giving people an experience, that's what I'm really good at. It's what my soul wants to do, is to express spiritual truths and the spirit of, to express who we are through our human experience, and assist other people to do that. So with soul gifts, when I work with people, I assist people to actually experience their soul gifts and connect with their soul gifts, not just talk about it, because there's so much information out there, and this could be just another piece of information of, oh, that's interesting, my soul gifts. But this is, a very tangible experience of our energy, the energy of our soul, like the voice of our soul expressing through us. It's very real and tangible and life-changing, because it's like a flow, and when you unblock that flow of energy from your soul, it's just expressing through you more and more, which is so joyful. And the phone coming up with things, so just joyful and natural. Actually, it's the most natural thing in the world to express our soul and our soul gifts, but we've just practiced, and we've practiced not doing that because of the responses we got around us. And it really is about coming back to our center and the truth of our expression and experience. And we know this, we know what's underneath, you know, at our center. We know what's true for us. We know when we're expressing the truth of who we are. If you really get quiet and still and be with that and ask for that, it does make sense and come through you. And not concerning how people around you, not overly concerning how people are responding to that, because everyone's not going to like your truth and expression. None of us are here to bring what we have to bring to the world to everyone. There's particular people we're here to share with and connect with and assist through our soul gifts. And they're the people that it's like a note in the universe. As we sound that note more loudly and clearly and strongly, instead of a sort of muffled dissonant, blocked off sound, as we express our note more clearly, it just sounds through the universe with such clarity that and power that attracts, people can hear it, and it's definite and clear. So yeah, thanks for listening. That's a bit of my explanation about soul gifts, because I often talk about soul gifts and people might not understand what I mean by that, because working with the Akashic Records in the way that I do, it's a little bit of a different understanding than commonly people are just talking about our gifts as intuitive gifts. So the soul gifts includes divine power, divine wisdom, divine truth, divine love, divine order, divine creation. That's just some of the gifts in the way that I... Interesting. The phone rings when I'm on Facebook Live, so not sure how that works and blocks off that. So thank you very much for showing up and listening today. So Kimberly, hi there. Thanks for showing up and listening. And Olivia and Bridget, lovely to see you all here. Thank you so much. Okay, so thanks for listening. Have an awesome day wherever you are, or evening if you're... I think everyone's in Australia that I can see on here. So yeah, have a beautiful day. Thanks for showing up on my Facebook Live and listening.